guys, what's up? It's Snitchery. How are you doing? It's another personal one, baby! I've been addicted to making these really personal videos to share with you guys lately, and you guys have been liking them too. So today, as the title implies, we're gonna be counting down the top 5 reasons why I have stopped getting face filler or Juvederm or dermal filler or whatever you want to call it, cheek filler, nose filler. No. Never had filler in my nose. Any kind of filler I've completely foregone as part of my beauty routine and halted it entirely. There's a number of reasons for that, both personal and just logistical, that I don't see a lot of influencers talking about. I do want to clarify the title specifically though, okay? Because as you guys know, bitch, I am the CEO of letting people do whatever they want with their bodies. I am very open about things I've had done in the past. Like I said, I've talked about my fillers here on YouTube. I just got a breast lift done that a bunch of my most recent videos are about. I think body mod should literally be left up to the person who owns the body as long as they're not being dangerous. However, these were all the things that either like scared me or worried me or, you know, whatever, into quitting. So I do think if it's something you're considering, or if you're someone who does get fillers, that some of these might be helpful information, stuff you don't know. Literally do whatever you want. So these reasons are loosely in a specific order, but the one I'm starting with is side effects. I haven't seen a lot of influencers or just people on social media talk about the potential side effects that come with Juvederm. I did a video on my channel about getting lip filler and why I got it dissolved right away, because I didn't feel like myself. I didn't like how they looked. They were very lumpy. When you first get lip filler, right, you're gonna expect, or any filler, some bumpiness, some lumpiness. They're injecting it and then you have to potentially massage it or just wait for it to go down. But at the time I filmed that video, it had been like a little while, it had been a couple weeks, and the lumpiness just never disappeared. And if I had only experienced that sort of lumpiness with my lip filler, I might have just chalked it up to maybe like lips, the skin is so much thinner so it takes longer to heal. But unfortunately I did also get those lumps that stuck around when I got jaw filler as well. And anytime you get any kind of facial filler, if you've never gotten them before, you're gonna have like some lumpiness, like I mentioned, but this was just lumpiness that didn't really go away. And I found that along my jawline, along here, was very bumpy. I'd be looking at myself in the mirror and I could just see the bumps kind of shifting as I would talk, and I knew other people could see it. I've also gotten my under eyes filled. I had a lot of side effects when I got that done for the first couple weeks, and then it extended throughout the entirety of the time I had it. My eyes would get really puffy. I have pretty deep set under eye bags. I'm wearing so much concealer right now, it's actually monstrous. But I have really dark under eye bags, and sometimes I like to accentuate them with makeup and sometimes I like to cover them up. At the time that I got under eye fillers, I was really more on the wave of like, they were very hard to cover with makeup. It's kind of something I want to address. Now, obviously, I'm not going back in to get filler. I kind of have a different, like, I guess, mindset for myself personally, and I haven't had that much filler in my life. So to have 3 experiences, and all of my techs are amazing, like they do such good work. It always looks really good, but I didn't really like the way it felt. There are also, of course, other risks and stuff like that with anything medical. You can always have an allergic reaction, or a change in discoloration, or a change in the texture of your skin, wrinkling or lumping or bumping, and there's nothing more disheartening than shelling out all of this money, going into the clinic, and coming out feeling worse than before. And I think, unfortunately, that's how a lot of people are feeling right now. Which brings me to reason number 2. Those motherfuckers are expensive! They're pricey. They're really pricey. They are not an inexpensive thing to upkeep. Like, you think getting your nails done, getting your hair done, even getting like lash extensions or microblading or whatever, you think that's maintenance. Getting filler is a maintenance cost like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. Every single time I went in for one area of my face, it would at least be like $800, like $600 to $800 for one area. So if you are going in and getting filler, as lots of people do for their cheeks and their chin and their jaw, and they're getting Botox in their forehead, and they're getting lip filler, and they're getting Botox in their brows, to maintain all of that, I mean, every time you're walking into a clinic, you're dropping like what, like $5 grand just forever to keep that face? That's crazy. The price I simply couldn't justify. I was also just lazy. Like, I hated having to go in for these appointments, and as soon as COVID started, I just stopped going. I'm also somebody with a pretty quick metabolism, so my face just ate filler very quickly. Anything I wanted to top off or redo, I had to go in around every like 5 to 6 months. So staring down the idea of dropping a couple grand a couple times a year just forever did not sound appealing. But speaking of quarantine, that brings me to reason number 3. I maintain, Your Honor, I maintain that fillers only look good with makeup, okay? At least on my face. I'm only speaking for me. I looked like shit when I would not wear makeup. I did not like how my face looked with a full structured face of filler without makeup. It's so weird. This is the weirdest point to bring up, because when I used to get fillers, I would tell all my friends like, oh my God, I love my filler because now I feel confident and I can just wear no makeup. And I look back at those pictures of me with filler without makeup and I'm like, Y'all, my cheeks were intense. If I had on a full beat, it kind of worked because I just looked like a very chiseled, kind of like striking person. But if I wasn't wearing any makeup, it almost looked very clear that like my cheeks didn't match my face. I'm mentioning my cheeks a lot because I do feel like that was by far the most dramatic filler I ever got. And it's the only one I went back in like again and again. It was the only thing I was really like continuously getting filled. But I look back at those times and I wonder if maybe I just liked looking a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more striking. I definitely don't think I looked better. In fact, I think I looked a little bit uncanny. The last time I got anything other than my immediately dissolved lip filler was in 2019. I think that's true. I've talked about this, but I've also just really stopped wearing makeup. I put it on for you guys today. For the most part, I don't really wear makeup anymore, and I don't certainly wear it on a day-to-day basis. I don't know, this morning I was a fucking Smurf, so I'm more into that kind of makeup lately. Go follow my Instagram if you want to, if you're curious. I do a lot of cosplay. Here I am as Naked Poison Ivy. That was a non sequitur, but there you go. Quarantine completely changed my makeup habits, and I just stopped wanting to wear it nearly as much as I used to. So I was kind of stuck with this hyper angular face and like no makeup to apply to it. Let's get into number 4, okay? This is a logistical reason. This is the one that I like. If you've listened to anything so far and you're still wondering if you should get fillers, listen to this. Filler moves. It moves. It moves in your face. That might seem obvious to some of you, but when I first heard that, I was like it shifts in your face, and gravity will obviously cause it largely to shift down. And if you get too much filler or get filler too frequently or for too long a time, keep things really filled, if you ever stop getting them filled, your skin might be stretched out. Your skin might be sagging because the filler obviously does swell and stretch your skin. So unless you are looking to commit to this for a lifetime, luckily I haven't had any of these like really intense side effects. I think more than likely if you're young, unless you've been just filling any feature of yours like crazy for years, that I'm sure you'd also probably be fine, but it is something to think about. The only example I can give is, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, but you know those people who have filler, you kind of see that it's almost the skin around their upper lip, that sort of like duck lip, right? Where like this skin will kind of be pushed up as well. And that can happen everywhere in your face. Also gonna notice if something is a centimeter more filled where there is pigment like on the lips as opposed to on your cheeks. If this shifts around, mine could have shifted exponentially. I'd have no idea. You really aren't gonna notice, but it is playing with fire to continually fill your face, even as a young person, knowing that this shit is like migrating around. Gravity is slowly dragging it all down to the bottom of your face. I have to imagine it's very aging, and that just really freaked me out. Also, filler is not a perfect science. You can obviously go into a med spa and get something done, and if you don't like it, you can get it dissolved. But if you have older filler, scar tissue can form around them, so it's really difficult to dissolve those fillers. Oftentimes filler just cannot be dissolved completely, so it's not risk-free. I think, and I'm totally guilty of this because it is so comparatively safe. Like, I don't want to scare you guys. I've had filler done a number of times. I'm totally fine. But because they are so commonplace, they are, compared to surgery, inexpensive. Again, their expense is one of the reasons I'm putting them completely. Compared to surgery, they are pocket change. And because they're so quick, so instantaneous, I think most people who have filler tend to talk about filler like it is NBD, like zero big deal. You go in for 20 minutes and then you walk out and you have an instantaneous result, and usually it's pretty subtle, but like that works in both the most common by far, but also best case scenario, right? Like for most people that will be their experience, but for some people, they will walk in and walk out feeling less confident. They will walk in and walk out feeling like they've wasted money. They'll walk in and have a terrible reaction before they walk out, or walk in and try to get filler, immediately get dissolved, and walk out paying double. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not like it's not an easy fix. It's not a one size fits all for everybody. And I think it was kind of being presented that way, which is the perfect segue into reason number, I guess 5, but also 1, that I decided to stop getting fillers. And again, it's a personal one. It is quite simply, I miss my face. If you ever shaved your head, or more likely maybe you cut your hair off where the dye is, like so it's only virgin hair, or you dye your hair and immediately regret it because it's not virgin hair. That's kind of how I felt about my face, if that makes any sense. I wanted my virgin face back. I wanted to grow out my roots. I wanted to let the filler dissipate, and I just wanted to go back to like what baby was born with. I think being home for quarantine, being with my family, not wearing much makeup, just spending a lot more time with myself, and I thought about it, just sitting there for days and days, just looking at my radically sharp cheekbones. And in the end, having a cosmetically altered face just didn't make me happy anymore. I kind of consider filler the same as like body mods. I don't see why it would be any different than a tattoo. It's just changing your appearance cosmetically. And for a long time, I really liked the cosmetic look of filler. I always took the approach of going very subtle and only sort of enhancing the things that I really liked about my face, like my cheeks, like my jaw, like my lips, things like that, with the exception of them under eye bags, baby. But then I just really sat with myself and I was like, why? Right? I was looking more like dramatic, more angular, more sharp, because let's be real, with the exception of lips, ultimately that's what filler does. Anything that's like on your face that's going to like a dermal filler, it's to make you look more angular, to make you look more chiseled. Why does anybody, including myself, inherently think, I guess, that looks better? And it totally makes sense. It just societally, because we are constantly being shoved like contouring products, right? And now Juvederm is kind of marketed as like a semi-permanent contour. It's like, I don't always need to look contoured, you know? Like sometimes I just want to look like human. And I would look back at these old pictures of myself where a couple of years ago, but my face was, I mean, it looks like it does now. It was just much more soft compared to how harsh and angular it used to be at the beginning of 2020. And I think I just prefer it. I think oftentimes filler just kind of makes me at least look a lot older. And I think that's the case for some other people as well. That sounded so shady. That was not directed towards literally anybody, just filler like ages you. All in all, I was not gonna keep up with my face every 6 months. And I do think there's something to be said for the fact that filler is like deeply addicting. Let me explain the process to you real quick. The cycle of addiction when it comes to dermal filler. Let's use lips as an example. You walk in, you get the lip filler done. As soon as you walk out, you're like, I'm in love with them. They look amazing to you. And over the course of the next like 3 hours, they start to swell and they'll get even bigger. And you'll forget about what they first looked like when the tech handed you your little hand mirror. You wake up the second day and they're even more swollen. Then the swelling starts to go down and down and down. And then by the end of like the second week, all of the swelling has gone down and you are convinced that your lips are back to their original shape because you're so used to seeing them massive and swollen that by the time the swelling has gone down, they're definitely bigger than they originally were, right? You have all the filler in there, it didn't go anywhere, but they still feel so much smaller than the lips you could have because now you've seen the future. Now you've seen what can happen if you go in 20 more times in the next 3 months. And then when you're in there, you're looking at the brochures and you're like, oh, I really only wanted to get my lips done, but maybe I should get a Botox brow lift. So before you know it, your entire face is full of Juvederm filler. It's all puffy, it's all unrecognizable, and you still think everything looks too small even though everything is dramatically overfilled because you're stuck in that cycle of swelling. The thought of even potentially drifting into that realm or like handing myself that problem was just so ridiculous, and it seemed so obvious to just go ahead and stop. Never say never, but I just feel like it's not my path anymore. And if it's yours, that's amazing. I had so much fun with it when I was doing it. Like I said, it's a largely safe practice. This video certainly wasn't meant to scare you, but I do have a number of videos on my YouTube channel about the filler experiences I've had, so I felt weird just kind of like leaving them up and then not coming back and being like, hey guys, part of my stances and opinions and the information I have and the way I go about things and my life experiences have changed. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. If you made it to the end of this video, stick a lightning bolt emoji. That was pretty good, eh? Could you see it? Freaking Harry Potter up in this shit. Leave a lightning bolt emoji in the comments. Like this video if you liked it or found it helpful. Thank you for being my friend today and always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye guys.